Hi, and welcome to the ONF Spotlight on 5G. I'm Timon Sloan with the ONF, and today it's my pleasure to welcome Baicells, one of the more innovative mobile and RAN vendors. Baicells was an early mover in some OpenRAN work and has recently started collaborating with ONF on the Ether project as well. And we're really pleased to see Baicells getting more engaged. From Baicells, we have Bai Wei today. He's the GM of International Markets and the Vice President from Baicells. Bai Wei, please take it away.
Hey, thank you, Timon. Hello, everyone. This is Bai Wei from Baicells. I'm the General Manager of Baicells International Business and also the Corporate VP. Today, it is our great honor and pleasure to be partnered with ONF and to share our understandings about the OpenRAN and also to discuss with ONF on the OpenRAN, what will be the challenges, what will be the opportunities. And yeah, that's again, our very pleased to be participating in this event. So yeah, maybe I could start the presentation. So today the subject of my presentation is computing is the essence of the OpenRAN. So let's go to the first page. So from Baicells' point of view, we believe that OpenRAN is about opening the ubiquitous computing resource, because recently, actually in the past 3-4 years, OpenRAN has really become a buzzword in the industry that everybody is talking about it. Everybody is interested, and a lot of companies and the ecosystem suppliers and players, they are participating in this OpenRAN activities. But what's really OpenRAN is? So here we just share our opinion on this. We believe that OpenRAN is again about computing. So let's review a little bit the history of the OpenRAN. Back to year 2016, Baicells also again very honored to have the opportunity to work with Vodafone to conduct the first OpenRAN proof of concept. At that time, we partnered with Redis and Baicells. We just contribute Baicells fully integrated base stations, and we opened the computing resource on that base station to let Redis to run their software on it, and we conducted the proof of concept with Vodafone in their test lab. And that proof of concept was quite successful, and we successfully bring up the total 4G system with this first very early stage OpenRAN concept. And at the same year, at year 2016, Facebook initiated the TIP project at the Mobile World Congress to build the OpenRAN ecosystem. Clearly, OpenRAN is not the only topic in the TIP, but everybody knows that OpenRAN is at least one of the most important topics in that ecosystem. And at the same year, at June, so SKT initiated the unbundled 4G project with the ecosystem players, including, of course, Baicells and others. So at that time, the OpenRAN concept gets a little bit wider and bigger. So basically, we break down the radio hardware, radio physical layer, radio layer 2 and the layer 3, front haul, and also the EPC software and the EPC hardware. At that time, so we bring so many pieces together and integrate them together to implement an unbundled 4G system with SKT. So that was what happened at the year 2016. And at the year 2018, there was another very important milestone in the industry that ORAN organization established. China Mobile, AT&T, Deutsche Telekom, and a few other operators, they initiated this organization at the Mobile World Congress. And up to now, there are over 110 ecosystem suppliers already participating, and over 20 operators are in the group. So basically, ORAN is defining all the industry standardization for the ORAN, for the interface, for the white box radios, all those. Baicells, again, we are very actively participating, and also we act as one of the founding member for the ORAN organization. And also, as for today, Baicells still hold one co-chair position for the working group 7, which is the white box radios that we also, which is a very important part for the OpenRAN system. So as for today, we reviewed the OpenRAN again. We see, okay, OpenRAN today, we have a much wider scope, and it is undoubtable future trend for the telecom industry. So, and this page shows some of the Baicells activities for the ORAN or OpenRAN. As mentioned, we did our first OpenRAN test with Vodafone. We were again also the founding member for the TIP, and we won the best performance radio at the TIP Summit at the year 2018. Baicells did the white box 4G and 5G radios design for the China Mobile, China Telecom. We did a reference design for the FlexRAN for Intel, and also we have the co-chair for the ORAN for Working Group 7. And we work with SK Telecom, we work with Airtel, we work with Telecom Italia for all those OpenRAN projects. So that's basically summarized what we have been doing in the past 3-4 years for the OpenRAN activities. And then we wanted to share some of Baicells' opinion for the OpenRAN definition. So what should we call OpenRAN, or what should be called as OpenRAN? So Baicells, we believe that OpenRAN, first of all, should have the software and hardware decoupled. So hardware shall be generally open for all the corresponding software. That means when you have a computing resource, or when you have your hardware, it should be not picky for any of the software. It should open for all the corresponding software to be running on that hardware. That's the first opinion that Baicells has. Secondly, we believe that OpenRAN shall be also interoperable interface between the hardware and the software. That means and even between different layers of softwares. That means once we are open something up, basically the interface will be very much important, because first of all, it has to be standard. Secondly, it has to be very open and easy to integrate. Otherwise, the OpenRAN full concept will be very difficult to implement. So that's the second opinion from Baicells. Thirdly, we believe OpenRAN is also about attitude. So basically, when you are an OpenRAN ecosystem player, the OpenRAN shall be transparent and flexible. So the operator, or let's say the customer, is interested for OpenRAN mainly to basically save more of the CapEx, OpEx, resolve the vendor lock, and also like stimulate more innovations, right? But so once we accept that concept, basically we need to completely open, transparent, and provide them more options instead of become another incumbent vendor who is locking the operator there. So basically, to summarize, we believe OpenRAN have 3 major characteristics. First one, software hardware decoupled. Second one, open interface. Third one is also an open-minded transparency attitude that basically we welcome more innovations, more breakthrough technologies, and more competition in the industry. So that would be the Baicells' understanding for the OpenRAN. I was gonna introduce 4 OpenRAN architectures in our opinion. The first one would be using the general purpose platform as the BBU or DU, and also we use the eCPRI interface. So this architecture is widely defined in the ORAN, and also I think it is widely adopted in the industry already. So basically, if we see at the very left, so basically we have the radio unit, and that radio unit could be running the lo-fi. And we have the open interface, which is defined in the ORAN activities, that so-called eCPRI or option 7-2. And also we're gonna use the general computing resource as a general purpose platform to running the Hi-Fi and the layer 2 and the layer 3. So basically here we see there's one computing resource at the GPP server. Basically, when we are adopting the OpenRAN concept, we will be using this part of the computing resource to behave as the baseband of the 4G and 5G radios. That would be the first option for the OpenRAN, which is also the ORAN architecture. The second page, or let's say the second option, we believe that we could extend the OpenRAN scope a little bit further. So basically, even the CPRI interface was defined as a standard, but people in this industry, we all know that CPRI interface is actually not that open, basically because the vendor, they always wanted to like have this more optimized or like more closed with their own product. But Baicells has ever done already with other vendors with the CPRI interface as well. That means we use our radios to be integrated with other vendors' BBU, or we use our baseband to integrate other vendors' radios. These are all through CPRI interface. That means CPRI interface is actually more of a it's still a standard as long as the parties have the intention, the position to open that interface. It could still be acting as the OpenRAN. And also, again, here we see we're still using the general purpose platform with the FPGA acceleration card as the BBU. And also, again, we are using that computing resource for the physical layer and the layer 2 and the layer 3. So that's the second option for the OpenRAN. And the third option is use the general purpose platform as part of the BBU or DU. So why do we call that? Basically, if we look at just in the middle, so there's a circle called O2 or O6 interface. So basically, 3GPP also have that definition saying that we could split wherever that between the MAC layer, a physical layer, MAC layer, RC layer, and PDCP layer. So here we have the option 2, which could split from the between the PDCP and the RC, and we have the option 6 could split between the physical layer and the MAC layer. So by doing this, we can basically use the integrated base station with the SoC inside, and that part could be running for the physical layer, or if we wanted to do option 2, that could run the MAC layer and RC layer as well. And then we use either the open interface FAPI, or we could use the open interface split 2 to act between the radio and the base, the BBU. And then we use the general computing resource at the general purpose platform to running for the MAC layer, RC layer, or PDCP layer only if we are doing the option 2. So this could be again, an even wider scope for the OpenRAN. Then we come to the last page or last option for the OpenRAN. So people might be curious why we are listing only one base station. There isn't it just a traditional base station? The answer is yes and no. So basically, yes, it is a traditional base station. It is fully integrated. If we just wanted to run it individually, it's just a base station. However, if you look inside the base station, basically in the SoC, the system on chip, there's a CPU on it, right? There's a CPU, there's RAM, there's DSP. But again, if we utilize the CPU as a general computing resource, and also we open the capability of that CPU, that becomes the OpenRAN concept as well. That's also, again, the very early stage proof of concept that we did together with Vodafone and Radisys. At that time, this is exactly the model that Baicells we contributed to Vodafone and Radisys run their software on that CPU. Basically, we conducted a successful OpenRAN proof of concept. So by doing all these 4 options, basically we summarized our opinion for the OpenRAN. First of all, OpenRAN, again, is all about computing. Once you have the computing resource opened for the software vendor, that product or that solution could become a OpenRAN system. And once that open, that already resolved the challenges for the vendor lock, for the stopping for the innovation, and for the high capex and OPEX. So all those headaches could be removed by opening just the computing resource. So that's Baicells' opinion for the OpenRAN. Then for the second part, we wanted to address another different, opinion that OpenRAN is about opening strong hardware capabilities and rich hardware portfolios. Why do we say that? I think we can just considering, for example, the OCP project, or like we just considering the normal like a computer market. Once you have so many applications, or like smartphone, once you have so many applications, people still wanted to use virus hardware. Either it's like a different brand, or either you like for different use applications. So always people or customer need to adjust their use cases with a different hardware still. Then we still, once we wanted the OpenRAN to be successful, we always needed the OpenRAN to be like have a very rich hardware capabilities and also very rich hardware portfolios. This page shows Baicells portfolio. Of course, I'm not going to introduce every one of them, but the major message that we wanted to deliver is once we can consider the OpenRAN as the 4 options, like the ORAN based, like the option 2 or option 6 based, like the CPRI based, like the fully integrated base station based. If just the hardware vendor is open their computing resource to the software vendor, then basically all of their hardware product and platform become the OpenRAN hardware portfolio, which will eventually make the OpenRAN ecosystem more successful. That will be the another key factor that we see how this OpenRAN ecosystem could be moving further, could be moving forward for this more with a bigger success in this industry. And then after all this, we believe, or Baicells believe, and I believe ONF also believes that OpenRAN is about to come. So this page shows the Baicells footprint in the worldwide. I'm not going to introduce all the customers what we did, but we just look at the scale. So right now we have over 55 countries covered, over 60 EPC deployed, and over about 100,000 base stations deployed. Imagine all of those hardware could be running OpenRAN, could be used for OpenRAN architecture. Then how big or how successful the OpenRAN could be. And also, we're not stopping here. We're still moving forward to deploy more of the OpenRAN networks. And the last page shows the Baicells OpenRAN compatible side at China Mobile. Here you see at the rooftop, China Mobile is using that base station to cover the city center to downtown for some hotspot or blind spot. So basically, when you have the OpenRAN, then you need again, you need a different or virus hardware type. So basically, you could be very suitable for the detailed applications, the scenarios that the operator is going to use. And as long as all of your hardware could be used for OpenRAN, and then the OpenRAN could be adopted much wider in the operator's network. Yeah, that's basically with that use case, that summarized my presentation.
So terrific presentation. Thank you, by the way, and really helpful to hear both your position on OpenRAN and a little bit more about the Byway portfolio of products. It was interesting to note how you spent some time talking about 4 different possibilities for what OpenRAN might mean, and the different interface possibilities of CPRI, eCPRI, and different splits and the like. And on the one hand, it seems great, like there are lots of different options and opportunity. But on the other hand, it also seems like a potential for I don't know, confusion, or it feels like we need critical mass to get OpenRAN to really work. And the more options we have, the longer it will take to actually find a set of interoperable components from different vendors. So I'm wondering about that. I mean, do you see something like that as being a potential blocker, or having too many options on the table being problematic?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question, Timon. Thank you for that. We actually here, I think the intention here we want is just to try to remove the confusion, actually. The thing is, when people are talking about OpenRAN right now, actually, even a lot of people in this industry, they are mixing ORAN and OpenRAN, right, sometime. So what we want is try to clarify the OpenRAN, what's OpenRAN, right? So if we go to the very first page of Baicells' presentation, basically, we're just thinking opening the computing resource for the software baseband vendor, that will be considered as the OpenRAN. And how you want it really to open that, that depends. Basically, there could be 4 options, or even there could be even more options. But when operators wanted to adopt OpenRAN, I think OpenRAN become right now is already a very like popular and also the trend for the operators. But again, as mentioned in the slide or in the presentation, this OpenRAN should be able to provide us or provide the operators more options for their network deployment. It should not limit to only one option, right? If you limit OpenRAN to one option, that really actually bring like a burden to the operator that if I wanted to deploy OpenRAN, this is the only option that I have. And what if this is not so suitable for my scenario? For example, assuming I don't have a very good backhauling or front hauling resource, and I want to deploy OpenRAN, then the front haul fiber become like a cost issue for us, right? So in that case, they could even consider to use the integrated base station with another software vendor's baseband in it. Or if they have already the very good like a indoor fiber system, they could either use the separate interface to save the cost for the radios, or if they don't have the fiber in their like indoor scenario, they could just use the Cat5, Cat6 Ethernet to run the separate interface. So what we wanted to say is we wanted to make the clarity that operator or the whole ecosystem could adopt the concept that OpenRAN is about computing. It's not about one single standard. So once we agree on that, and then people could be freely select the most suitable OpenRAN solution for their network based on the real, based on their reality. For example, availability of the site, availability of the front haul transmission, availability of the server. You know, there will be a lot of, in the reality, there will be a lot of constraints. But our point would be, you know, adjust your solution based on your real case, and use the OpenRAN computing resource to avoid or to achieve what we want to achieve. Basically, that's avoid the vendor lock, to reduce the CapEx, the OpEx, to stimulate the innovation, bring more breakthrough technologies. Those are the intention for the OpenRAN. Basically, yeah, hope that answers the question.
No, it does, and I appreciate the position. And yeah, different operators definitely have different infrastructure, and so options can help. So, you know, I think that your thrust, or the first thing you kind of described, is that split of hardware and software as OpenRAN. And that seems like maybe that's Baicells' you know, main thrust as you think about this. I'm curious on how Baicells sees it. In every example you gave, it was Baicells providing hardware and maybe others providing software. Is that the primary way Baicells views playing a role, or is it also, you know, within your goals to also provide software to run on other people's hardware? Where does Baicells, you know, strategically, where do you see yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Timon. That's another very good question. Thank you for that. I think first of all, Baicells, we have the capability to deliver end-to-end solution, not including only the RAM, but also the core network. So that's Baicells' capabilities. Actually, if you view what's happening in the ORAN ecosystem, sometimes Baicells, we just behave a test bed for our partners in our lab, you know, to run the full end-to-end solutions. So referring to your questions, we are definitely open to contribute. As mentioned, OpenRAN is also about the attitude, the transparency. So we are open to provide our hardware to other software vendor for them to integrate as the total solution. At the same time, Baicells is also very much open to use other vendors' hardware to integrate our software into it. So basically, we believe OpenRAN brings more competition, brings a better product, a more innovative solution. So you need to be open-minded to work with the ecosystem partners to deliver that. But your question actually reminds me another thing is also, I think I've got to mention during the presentation. Once we have the OpenRAN, we see all the benefit, all the beauty of the OpenRAN, that we have new technologies, we are very easily to bring innovative ideas, but at the same time, we have the challenges to integrate the total solution together. So that's that part we cannot avoid. So for this part, we believe that also, again, make the total solution more open, and make yourself capable of integrate with others, or integrate yourself could be very much helpful for the ecosystem. Because at the end of the day, operator doesn't want to deal with like 10 or 15 vendors, and they do all the integration, right? So that's gonna be very much time and effort consuming. So Baicells, first of all, we are happy and open to contribute any of our system component within the system. And at the same time, if Baicells needs to be the system integrator, and we are very happy, and we believe we are capable of doing that.
Yeah, terrific. That's a really good point about the need for system integration. Excellent point, by the way. And terrific to see. And it sounds like Baicells has a very flexible approach and wants to play various roles. And so, perfect, good. So I'm curious about adoption of OpenRAN. I mean, the examples you gave were a little more traditional telco focused in some of the big operators, but I know that you and I have had other conversations, previously, and talk a little bit about the opportunities for enterprise verticals and other markets that might perhaps get faster traction with OpenRAN. I'm wondering if you might share something with this audience on your thinking there.
Okay, thank you, Timon. Yeah, we agree definitely that OpenRAN. So initially, the OpenRAN concept was brought by the operators, but OpenRAN, again, it is pretty much aligned with what we were foreseeing here. Is OpenRAN is about computing, and computing is about verticals, about enterprise. So just imagine who in this world using the computer the most. It was the enterprise, the verticals, right? So once the OpenRAN solution could be adopted, it is very easy to add another function we normally call the mobile edge computing, right? So for the operators, people are not normally talking about KPIs, mobility successful ratios, all those factors. But for the verticals, normally people are considering, what would be the real characteristics that we wanted to use if we wanted to build a private network. So that's something that OpenRAN can also bring, because once you open the radio, it has the open interface. The software could be, the baseband software could be regarded as like a application on that server. And we are not only opening the interface between the hardware and software, we are also opening the network capabilities to the ecosystem. For example, if the industry, for example, if the factory need a very low latency control signaling, and they could, use the computing platform to, try to optimize the scheduler. Basically, there could be also open interface for that. And I believe that's also so-called like a RIC or other terminologies that ONF is working on. So we can use that to control the RAN system. To, you don't necessarily need to understand all those scheduling mechanism or algorithm, but really you just adjust the radio scheduling based on the actual demand from the computing platform. Again, once that computing platform is generally available, that could be used for RAN, and at the same time, it could be used for the enterprise or for verticals. And then they could basically use that to have a better integration and also open the network capabilities to control the radio better according to their wishes. That's basically our understanding. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good. Yeah. Thank you for that. It makes good sense. So, and maybe a last question is, so you've talked about, well, it's clear that in your mindset, the first step in open is kind of a split of hardware and software. And I think that makes sense. And we've seen that in other markets too with great success, like in the cloud industry and elsewhere. I'm curious about that other split. Like, ORAN is defining the RU, DU, CU kind of split within a RIC above it. Where are you on your path to interoperating with other, with other vendors in that way? So you would provide an RU, DU, and somebody else's CU. Can you share anything with, where you view, when that's going to start to get some real traction?
Okay, thank you. We actually, because we were very actively participating in these ORAN activities, so right now we are doing the integration with some of the tier 1 vendors, or so-called tier 1 vendors, the big names with their RIC, the RC. That part, for those part, we are supplying our radios, RUs, CU, and DU. So those part. And at the same time, we were ever work with one of the very important, I don't want to name their name here, but we were working with one of the very important chipset vendor with chipset supplier with their CU. So basically, they build a CU at their side for the IoT, Internet of Things applications for release 16 URLC, and we are supplying our DU and radios. So that's two actions that we are working on. And also, Baicells, we are using our CU and DU as the total BBU solution to integrate some of the other radio providers, their radios, to maybe to also enrich portfolio of the radios. Again, that's also aligned with what we just said, that OpenRAN, for the OpenRAN, we need a lot of like a very big portfolio of hardware. So we're just trying to integrate our solutions with others. So make sure it is all interoperable with others. And once the operator have their demand, it is much easier to get things started.
Good, thanks. And anything you can say specifically about the timeline? I mean, it sounds like you're doing this sort of the mix and match of your RUDU with another CU. But when is that going to be? Can you say anything about when you're ready for lab trials with that kind of solution?
For the CU, for the chipset vendors, CU and Baicells, DU and RU, we've already done the successful integration, and we actually have done that already with one of our customers. So that's a proof of concept. That is already done task. And for the RIC integration, it is still ongoing. We expect by the end of the year, we should be able to have some initial results to be shared in the public.
Okay, very good. Well, by the way, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for being with us today and sharing the Baicells perspective here on OpenRAN. Terrific presentation, and really appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Timon. Thank you.